Founder Report, Season 1, Episode 15.
There we are, see? Hello again.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Welcome to our new studio, haven't we? I nearly actually sort of said, how are you this morning, man? You're looking a bit thin, and I realised you were sitting the other side, because normally you were sitting to my left. Anyway, there we go. So what's been happening while I've been contriving our new setting?
Well, first of all, you've done an amazing job, can I say? It looks beautiful here, so good job. And for the 3 people who watch our show, you should be well impressed.
There's more than 3 now.
By what's been happening over the last few weeks.
It's at least 4.
At least 4. What's been happening?
What's been happening? Well, I've been decorating, of course.
I've been dealing with family stuff.
Yeah.
Essentially. Which is just ongoing, but apart from that...
And of course, having to keep up since we last met with, obviously, vis-a-vis our last episode on the 10 or 11 runners and riders.
We're now down to 2.
Down to the wire. So this is the subject for today. Down to the wire, or not, as the case may be, of the leadership race to become Britain's next PM. And then to, obviously, Downing Street.
Next top talent.
And Britain's, well, I wouldn't say
yeah,
talent.
Let's just leave that.
Yeah. The word talent doesn't spring to mind when I look at Liz Truss, especially in those outfits she seems to pick. But bless her. We'll get to Liz in a minute, and Rishi. But it's been whittled down, of course, from 10 to... You were favouring, as I remember, Penny Mordaunt.
Penny Mordaunt, yeah.
Yes,
that didn't go down too well, did it?
Well, yes. After our little meeting last time, I found out... Did you see the debate, one of the early debates with Penny Mordaunt on it?
So I just wanted to be... I've refused to watch any of the debates. The best thing about the
That's
debate...
helpful, isn't it?
Oh.
Go on, yeah.
So all I knew about the debates was that the poor presenter passed out. Right
yes, that was one of
the
them.
Beginning.
Yes, that was one of them. And
that's basically as much as I know about the debates in general.
Yes. Well, yeah. Did you actually see the clip?
No.
Oh, shame, because there was a moment of humanity coming through the Liz Truss as she sort of in shock put her hands to her mouth.
That bit I saw, and then she actually went to help.
But then she sort of was stuck there for a second. It's like, really, she couldn't make up her mind what she should do next, and then she rushed to help.
Did anyone else come to her?
And it's like, well, crikey, in a I'm going to say, in a serious situation as Prime Minister, do I really want to imagine her? So the bombs started dropping as her just going.
Now what? Yeah. Now what?
Oh my fuck! You know what I mean? It's like, oh, maybe she's not the right one. But of course, yes, you were a fan of Penny.
I just thought she was the most reasonable of the bunch.
Yeah. Was that before or after you found out that her CV, what was on her CV? I mean, I found it interesting because obviously Rishi Sunak was in business and done other things. And they went through all the various stuff. Penny Mordaunt, she was a magician's assistant.
But not...
She was a magician's assistant.
Yeah, but not right before she became MP, surely.
A little way before, she was a magician's assistant.
Okay, but then what else did she do?
And of course, as she did, obviously, and has disappeared in a puff of smoke in this leadership contest. But yeah, she was a magician's assistant.
But I don't think that's the totality of his CV.
Well, she's done a couple of other things, but that was the thing.
Like what?
Well, they only mentioned 2.
Mime.
So,
what else did she do?
Well, the only sort of mentioned two sort of things apiece for the various different ones, and they were all very serious. I mean, I remember, was it Kemi Badenoch? She'd got the master's degree and something, and she'd done this, that, and the other. So there were two items for her.
Can I say?
And then it came to Penny Mordaunt, and it was Thingy and being a magician's assistant.
It's interesting with Kemi Badenoch.
Yes.
That they actually had to put a piece in the paper stating that there wasn't any sort of racial bias as to her actually entering the race. So they kind of had to make a statement saying that she was in the race on merit, not because of some sort of...
Well, having listened to... Okay, you didn't watch the debates. I watched the debate, one of the debates with Kemi Badenoch in it. And do you know what? I was rather impressed with her.
I think most people were.
Yes.
And I don't quite understand why she didn't go further. She just didn't have the support from the other MPs.
Well, you know how it does. It's sort of, as one drops out, then there's a sort of edge to try and get their supporters to back a particular candidate. And of course, so Sajid Javid didn't even make the first hurdle.
I'm not surprised.
But Kemi, I thought she
had good standing. I thought.
Yes, but that's because she stood up well in the debates.
But it only means whenever they do decide the final leadership should almost definitely have a position on the cabinet. From the offering that she gave over the past few weeks.
Yeah.
I'd hope that she'd have a decent position in cabinet now.
Yeah.
Because she's clearly at least capable of something positive by the looks of it. So.
Yeah, I would agree.
As much as you hate the Conservative Party, I think she's a standout.
Look, at the end of the day, as I said to Matt only yesterday, it wouldn't. I wouldn't actually. If I saw the right noises being made, the right things being done, then I'd vote accordingly. It's not down to being intrinsically stuck in one or other political. If they're doing what I consider to be good things, then I'd vote. But I have to like or trust. I have to have some faith in the person, and therein lies, of course, the problem that we've had in politics over probably the last couple of decades at least.
And with the two sort of candidates we have, it doesn't look particularly positive, does it? So.
Well, you say that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Rishi. Personally, I think actually Rishi Sunak is easily the best of the two. And having watched last night, the debate was good last night because most of what we've been mostly seeing is Liz Truss has been firmly in the lead.
Yeah.
Which is something I don't really get.
No, neither do I.
I really don't get why, but because to me she's a carbon copy of Theresa May in that woodenness that she has.
She's just a little bit more colourful, but she's Theresa May Mark II.
Yes. Well, Theresa May had her kitten heels, of course. Fuck all else, but she had her kitten heels. But Liz Truss, I mean, she wears bloody appalling clothes. But, notwithstanding her outfit, the problem is she comes across as very wooden. And I thought last night she came across as a bit dishonest because there was a few times where she was in typical style of the very thing that I think people are brassed off with, is that she was dodging the bullet rather than owning it. I think she was asked about the U-turn on
the taxation issue.
Yeah, on regional pay bodies because it costs less to live in somewhere like Newcastle, so we should pay maybe the policemen less in Newcastle than they do here. At the moment, it's centralist.
Like London,
in other words, all the police everywhere earn the same.
Like London waiting, for example, there's sort of a 10 to 12% increase because you're living in London, etc.
Yes, but the idea that if you live in Newcastle rather than that a policeman in Birmingham should be paid less money than a policeman in Newcastle is just ridiculous. So, and of course she's done a U-turn on it. Yeah. But, rather than own it, she was trying to say that it had been misrepresented by the media. Well, that was the wrong thing to say, of course, because Kay Burley would then
when you're being interviewed by the media.
Kay.
When you're being interviewed by the media, it probably doesn't help you.
Hello, she's obviously the question came back, in what way did we misrepresent it? And of course, she got the quotes out and
she looked like a silly old bat.
Still, she wouldn't own it, and it was interesting.
That makes her a perfect politician.
Well,
she never admits her mistakes.
No, well, it might.
She never answers a question properly. That makes the ultimate MP.
No, I think the ultimate. This is where we've all gone wrong. The ultimate is to actually to be straight up, and I think the public are bloody tired of it. And the interesting thing was that last night. We'll get onto it. We're stuck with the two that we've got. Merits of either. Negatives, positives. What's your take?
You can
out of the two, you're gonna. What are your thoughts?
I don't like any of them, but well, it's true. Ultimately,
reasons.
I don't like how Rishi moved to his position. I don't like how he threw Boris under the bus.
Can I take issue with that?
No, not yet.
Carry on. Yeah.
So in my opinion, Rishi had a plan in place long before this issue came up with Mr. Pincher, etc., etc. The timing of it was almost perfect, in terms of, this Pincher issue came up. Rishi was very quick to sort of then, make his assertions. Boris, as every politician, didn't own up to it. When he should have done it, might have gone a different way if he had done so. Rishi took advantage, threw this guy under the bus. Fair enough, but it's almost like Rishi. It's a bit of a snake move. Ultimately, he wanted the position. He found a way to get ahead. He did that. And now he's probably...
Okay, so...
Hold on. I'm not done. Just like...
No, I was going to take that one particular point before you go to the next.
But that's the negative. I just don't like the way he handles himself.
Okay.
I think that he's prepared to sort of...
Get where he wants to get.
Yeah, navigate, not necessarily in the most salubrious way, in order to get what he wants. The only positive is that on the economic side of things, you're just seeing that he's more adept to handle our current crisis than Truss. I think everyone would accept that on the economic side, he's probably more capable. Okay. But that's it. And on Truss' side, I think she talks without understanding consequence. I think she, as a foreign secretary, she has put us in more danger today than we were 4, 5, 6 months ago. I think she's very quick with rhetoric, and not understanding diplomacy or, how to sort of handle larger global matters. And I think she's dangerous because of it. And I don't trust her to do the job at all. I think if she ends up being PM, it's a bad day for all of us. And I've got
to agree.
And I'll put this on the table. If she becomes PM...
I don't want to put her on the table.
If she becomes PM, I'm not voting Conservative. I'll say that today.
Whoa. And that coming from you is mighty, because you have been... Yeah.
Well, I have my views, but I think...
You've always been a Tory.
But I think in this case...
Yes.
I will walk away from the Tory party and just see what the next best... solution is.
Let me handle a couple of points you've raised there. The thing about Rishi looking as though, he threw Boris under the bus and was a party to and had long planned his ascendance. Now, Truss did exactly the same.
Yeah.
Truss actually was caught doing these fancy photo shoots and glossy brochures. Well, we spoke about this last time, the fact that they all had their glossy brochures and videos all rather quick off the mark. But Truss was caught in this kind of thing, and at the time the press said that it looked like a blatant
power grab,
readiness for what have you. But ultimately, you can't blame politicians for seeing the writing on the wall and doing the necessary planning. It's the failure of a politician, or would be a failure of them, if they sat there and didn't do fuck all and found themselves blindsided by the event. Because let's face it, there were a lot of warning signals for this one.
Yeah.
A huge number of warning signals and a huge number of times Boris escaped. And ultimately, when I hear this criticism, and I've heard it on the debates and what have you, as well as one of the question I think was raised last night's debate, about Boris being thrown under the bus. No, Boris threw himself under the bus. It was his actions that put Boris under the bus. So with the fact that other people were ready to see what was likely to come actually arrive and be have a little preparation for, seems to me to be perfectly fine.
Can we just clarify that Boris Johnson didn't try to molest any male MPs, and that was someone else? But the reason why
have you seen the messages that have gone between him and Pincher?
But the reason why he took the fall is because he didn't take action and didn't take responsibility.
Exactly, he lied. If he'd have actually on the first day just turned around and got that really bad move, I wanted to sort of, bad decision.
Clearly, he didn't think it was as serious as he thought. I don't think he thought it was as serious an issue as it really was. And he thought that he could slide it under the carpet and it'll be fine.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
it's his habit. This was his habit.
Yeah.
So my point is,
he's protecting his friends.
The only person who got thrown under the bus, the person that threw that Boris under the bus was Boris Johnson. No one else. And so to sort of carry this thing that a lot of Tory supporters, members, seem to feel that somehow Rishi Sunak threw him under the bus. Pure nonsense. Pure nonsense. He didn't throw him under the bus any more than any of the other 60 MPs that resigned their support.
Well, then I just don't like the way he looks. How about that?
Well, that's all right.
If that's the case, I just don't like the way he looks.
As for on the Liz Truss point, I wholly agree with you. I just think that it would be a bad day for all of us. I find her wooden. I find her dangerous. Somebody said to me that she's got an awful lot of ministerial experience, but if you took being foreign secretary out of it, I can't remember one thing that she's done.
Agreed.
So that's not great. And as far as foreign secretary is concerned, yes, she's often engaged her mouth before putting the brain in gear. And it was interesting because actually, when you missed last time, Kay Burley's last question at the end, I mean, it was a very good format last night. I have to say, it was the best format I've ever seen in the debate. The contender...
Were they facing a wall?
I did think of getting in touch with Sky and offering them a bag to put over Truss's head. Because she's very difficult. I found myself, first of all, they had to take questions individually. Liz Truss won the coin toss. So she went first. She chose to go first. And so she stood in front of the audience, which was made up of generally Tory voters, party members who are voting in the leadership challenge, that most of which hadn't entirely 100% made up their mind, but there was others too who hadn't made up their mind, etc. It seemed at the beginning that most of the room, as we've seen with the polls, was sort of favouring Truss over Rishi, right? And then it got to, they take questions from quite a long time, directly from the audience. Kay Burley mediates. And then at the end, Kay Burley sits them down in front of the audience and she asks the questions for 5 minutes like you would if they were on the news programme. Boy, did she grill them. And when it came to Liz Truss, it was fantastic. She cited the issue. I don't think she mentioned the Nicola Sturgeon, which was a very unfortunate remark. I think it was less than statesmanlike to
let's just ignore it comment.
Yes, what was it? And she said something else about it. It was it was actually very unpleasant. I don't think people should talk in those terms.
That's not going to go well for her.
I don't.
Even if she does become PM, this is going to become an issue down the line.
Yes, of course it is.
And she's going to wish she never said that.
Try and build bridges, not. And she was so sort of unrepentant with it when she was asked about it. But Kay Burley asked her about the policy, this regional pay policy. Asked about her position on saying, she said, you had this policy to do so and so, and changed your mind, and then said no. You were a Remainer, but now you're a Leaver. You were quite happy for British non-stop to go to Ukraine and fight, and then you were not happy, and then you were not approving of it. She tried to deny it. Came the quote, Kay Burley. Then use this, and you changed your mind. You said we should arm Taiwan, and now you're not sure. Will the real Liz Truss please stand up? Oh dear. Really, but while she was taking the questions, that half hour or so, I lost the will to live. Whereas in the second half, when I was watching Rishi Sunak, I found him engaging. And that surprised me. I found him really engaging because he answered clearly, he answered honestly. He was also
fighting for his life because Truss was seemingly leading the way over the course of the last
thing. So they
2 or 3, right?
They took the thing last night, and 75% showing of hands for Rishi Sunak. A complete game changer.
I still think
she's
Truss
dropped the ball.
I still think Truss is going to get it.
I'm not so sure because so far nobody's got their voting.
I've also been wrong about everything
Yes, exactly.
In the past,
I shouldn't be the one pointing that out.
In the past month, I've been wrong about everything that I've.
Pretty well.
Right.
Well. Yeah,
Truss is going to get.
There was a point you said even a few months ago. Putin's not interested in attacking Kiev, and then he attacked Kiev a few weeks ago, and he's attacked him again this week.
No, he hasn't.
Yes, he has. Been missiling them. Yes,
not Kiev. He hasn't.
Yes. You're missing it.
No, I've been following the maps over almost every day.
And sadly, the point is
he has no interest in Kiev. Let's make that clear.
The point is that
there is no military specialist that is saying that he wants Kiev.
Yeah, well,
he doesn't. See. He wants Odessa.
We'll see.
We will see.
What do you reckon? No comment. But you know what I mean. We could all be completely wrong. So I actually, funnily enough, I've got a sneaky feeling that seems that actually that talking about it yesterday's announcement on interest rates, that this is now playing to Sunak's field. What's happening economically? because it seemingly she had £80 billion worth of tax promises, tax cut promises, and spending promises.
Which you could never live up to a claim like that. It's impossible.
What kind of
with inflation increasing up to potentially 13 to 15%?
I know.
2023, is that right?
I just can't understand what I find. I don't know. Well, we'll touch on the economy now. You mentioned Rishi being probably the better because of his economic experience, given the situation we're in. I mean, again, I entirely agree with you. It seemed to me that new to the job at the beginning of COVID, that his speed to react to the needs of the economy was superb. World leader,
but you have to when you're facing such a crisis. You've got no choice but to act quickly.
Yes, exactly.
But it also
that's my point about Liz Truss when the presenter collapsed. Her going like this first.
Yeah, but he didn't exactly go rush to the scene either, did he?
Well, he wasn't there.
Well, where was he?
So only she was right in front.
What do you mean?
Oh, well, I don't know where the rest of them were at that point. I think they were
pointing and laughing. Probably.
What you mean, doing that round of applause?
Yeah.
Way!
I mean, you say that.
I actually thought she'd dropped down, in disbelief, fell over in disbelief at one of Liz Truss's replies.
But look, even with the speed of Rishi, taking action, he still plunged us into even greater debt. I understood that certain things had to be done,
but it did have to be done.
No, but fine. But we're in a worse position today than we were 2 years ago.
But that was to be expected. There was going to be a bill. There's always a bill at the end of these things. However...
Yeah, but it's easy to move quickly when you're drowning us in debt. It's harder to actually pull us out of the situation after the fact.
Yes.
So it's a question of what happens
Well, we certainly...
But hold on. Let's wait and see what happens, with China, Taiwan. Let's wait and see what happens with Russia, Ukraine. Now we've got Azerbaijan. Who are the other people? I forgot. Armenia, Azerbaijan, which is a new conflict that started only the other day. We have...
Next year's Eurovision is going to be a bit thin for...
but it's in the UK.
Yeah, but everybody else will be fighting one another.
Yeah. Israel will always be there. They always show up. We have food crisis. We have global food crisis. We have shortage of parts coming through, which affects electronics, car manufacturing, industry, logistics issues.
Yes. So I'm looking for somebody to slip my wrist.
But we're looking at a very difficult year, let's call it, at least.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So we don't know where we're going to be in a year's time.
Fuck knows.
And I don't think there's anything any prime minister or any government can do to really improve things. There's only so far you can...
There's only certain things that they can do.
At the moment, it's all mitigation.
To my mind, Rishi Sunak has had it about right.
But I'd rather him than Truss.
Yes, totally.
End of story.
He's done it about right, because the idea of actually feeding people the necessity to deal with what is the worst part of the inflation, which is energy prices, is a really great thing. But as soon as you start offering tax cuts across the board, this whole idea of Truss's, then you're going to really open the doors to making entrenching an inflation,
and it has to be paid off at the end of the
borrow money we don't have, and that will stoke inflation. And this argument that her side seemed to be perpetuating, that you can cut taxes and do this stuff and not add to the problem that we've already got with inflation. It's fag packet economics. That's what it is.
The problem with our economy, Western economies at least, is that the amount of borrowing that governments have done has caused at least a good proportion of the inflation that we're seeing today.
Yes, what's QE?
But the thing is, governments refuse to tell the public. It's not that cost of living is going up. Yes, that's part of it, but the amount of borrowing, by devaluing the value of our currency, causes inflation.
Yes.
The onset.
You were aware
we're facing it on two fronts here.
You were aware that there were, after COVID, as we came to the end of the lockdowns and what have you, trying to re-engage the economy, that they were engaging in QE.
Yeah. They have to try and balance the books somehow.
Yeah, but that's really stoked this round of inflation. But of course, we know there's a number of factors. But yeah, like you, I'm with you on 100%. If it comes to one of the two of them, I prefer the steady approach of Rishi Sunak, and we've got a bit of past experience of him as Chancellor.
But despite all that, I still reckon Truss is going to get it. It's like this sadomasochism in the Conservative Party. It's true, right? It's like,
yeah, mate.
It's incredible. It's like Sunak makes sense. However,
the number of times
Truss in terms of metrics would just make more sense. Because she's a woman, we'll put her in. It looks good. Doesn't matter that she doesn't know the economy, and the processes all that well.
Doesn't matter that she looks like a pound shop.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We think that this is the woman to do the job.
There's times I've looked at the TV over the last few weeks and with polling, so I'm looking at it thinking, what the fuck are they doing? They've lost their senses. They're just making another mistake. And this time they're doubling down on it. This is the worst mistake ever. She's another disruptor. She doesn't know what she's doing. It's more about wanting to be leader than having the surety that she could actually do the job. Her body language is all wrong. I have a real big issue with this. I watch how Rishi Sunak's quite sort of he does one or two of the moves. The thumb one. You notice this, politicians, when they're on television, they try and reinforce. I know it's techniques, but I see too much of it.
What's the thumb thing?
It's when they're sort of explaining something. So if I'm going to give you a tax cut.
You will be under my thumb at all times.
Now,
Liz
Truss she stands like this.
Big box, little box. Big box.
I wish my husband's dick was this big.
No.
No. No, but she stands there and she starts doing this business. And she starts looking a bit weird. I was noticed this on the television last night. And she's doing this business. And it's just like, for God's sake, put the hands down.
But she's got a PR person on the other side.
He's probably doing the same thing.
For
God's sake, put the fucking hands down. Yeah. It's such a fucking nightmare. But it comes across as really awkward. It reminded Matt made an interesting point. It reminded him of Theresa May when she came on at the Conservative conference, pretending or trying to dance.
The little dance.
Yes.
This is what she'll be remembered for, Theresa May.
Yes, and the letters falling off.
Right. It'll be the weird dance.
Yes.
What kind of legacy is that?
Yes. What was it?
Terrible.
What was her other legacy? Oh, yes. Grenfell. We'll have them all rehoused in less than 3 weeks.
Yeah, but they did well in the end. They ended up in that brand new development in Chelsea, didn't they? Not Duke of York Square.
Mm.
That brand new development that cost like 500 million, whatever it was, and then a lot of them got housed in the social element there. So luckily, there was at least some
In
sort
the
of
end.
positive. In the end. Yeah, definitely in the end. It took a while.
Yeah, she was
At least some of them were seen right.
She was a blithering idiot, that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, there we go. So that's interesting that really we're on the same page.
We actually agree.
We agree. Wow. Well, had you watched the debate last night, I think you'd have even been more agreeable. She was vacuous.
It took 15 episodes and 6 months for us to agree
on anything. So anyway, I thought I'd appropriately find a quote for the day. Political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and to give an appearance of solidity to pure wind. George Orwell.
Excellent.
On that note,
please like and subscribe, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you for listening.
Be kind to one another and have a good day.